Hey everybody, this is Jonathan the Cars Sometimes. Today we're taking a look at the LX Premium 2021 Sorento. So this is an LX Premium. This is one step above the entry-level model that we have here in Canada. All of ours in Canada here are going to be all-wheel drive as well. Under the hood we have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, producing 191 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, and that of course goes to all four wheels. So on the interior, we do find some soft touch materials on the dashboard, on the upper card. We have a leather wrapped steering wheel, leather on the shift knob. But other than that, we do have a plethora of harder plastics on the lower non-touch surfaces generally. And Kia, thank you. Thank you. We do not have gloss black on this high touch area right in the center console. We have this matte black. I'm not going to show those fingerprints, and a year from now it's not going to look all scratched up and beat. Thank you, Kia. In this LX Premium, the middle seat is going to be an actual bench. On the higher models, it comes as 2 captain seats, making it a 6-seater. This model is a 7-seater. More on the third row in a second. Of course, infotainment is very big these days, and Kia is always doing a good job, and that continues on in the 2021 Sorento. The touchscreen is fast, it's responsive, the menus just make sense. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, we still have physical controls, we still have a volume knob, we still have a tuning knob, we can't take those for granted. We still have some physical buttons. Good job, Kia. The Hvac is fully separated from the infotainment. It has physical controls. Thank you. Kia has decided to move to touch buttons for some of the functions. Take it or leave it. I think it's functions that won't be touched as often as the physical ones that they have set. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Thank you. Down here we have our heated seat controls, both, of course, on both sides, and of course in the center stack we're going to see our shift knob. It does have manual shifting, more on that in a second. Terrain select, this is straight from the Telluride, and a few other physical controls. Heated steering wheel, parking camera. So sitting here in the second row, I find I do have a lot of headroom, I do have a lot of legroom. I'm sitting behind myself right here, and the seat, of course, does move forward and back. We find we have vents for the second row passengers. We have a USB port down here and a 12 volt. On the back of the driver's seat and the passenger seat, we have additional USB ports for the passengers back here. And a funny little detail I'd love to point out is this cup holder for the passenger on the armrest. I absolutely love that. Moving into the third row, we find there's a button up here, and then Kia, they put a small button down here. Now this is for children. They wanted children to be able to load and unload themselves into the third row. Kudos for that little detail. So when you push it, the seat slides forwards and bends forwards a little bit, and then we can get into the third row. Now I'm going to be completely honest, this third row is not very useful. Maybe for small children in a pinch, but for an adult, you're not going to fit. So let's climb in and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm sitting here in the third row, look where my knees are. I do still have a little bit of legroom surprisingly, but overall this is not going to be very useful. If you do put people back here, they do have a few little comforts. They actually get their own climate control. We get USB, 12 volt back here. I'll explain what these buttons do in a second. Little cubby and an armrest. And of course that extends on the other side as well. We even get our own vents. That is not something you see all the time, third row vents. Never mind HVAC controls. That is absolutely fantastic. Let's take a look at cargo. Now cargo space, of course, this is where the main reason why you'd upgrade from something like a Sportage or a Seltos or something smaller. With the third row up though, here are the mats, and you can see it's about less than the Miata. So again, just making that argument, maybe this third row isn't the most useful thing. It might have been just for Kia to have that sticker saying third row seating, but I just tell people, fold them away and you'll never know they're there. So with the seats folded down, we can see it opens up a huge cargo area. This is awesome. Of course, Kia always has a hidey hole somewhere. There we are. You can get an optional cargo divider, of course. That'll go here. You can adjust it. If you don't need it upright, it can go down here, and then you can even store it under here. The Kia thinking out those little details. Fantastic, and I love this. There's a little light right here that you can turn on for your cargo area. Good job on that little detail, Kia. So let's address the elephant in the room. Is 190 horsepower good enough for this big vehicle? Actually, surprisingly, yes. It's just a 2-liter naturally aspirated But paired with this transmission, I do think it's enough. Do I wish for more? I mean, 100%. Who doesn't want more? Give me a Hellcat engine in here. But is 191 adequate? 100%. I am completely okay with it. So this 21 Sorento takes the terrain select mode straight out of the Telluride. On the left, we have our drive modes: Comfort, Eco, Sport, and Smart. Smart will try to decide what drive mode you're in. I think it does an okay job. I prefer to keep it in Sport. It'll change how your steering feels. It'll change how the engine works. It'll change how the transmission works. When we push the button and we flip it to the other side, this is our terrain select mode. We have snow, mud, and sand. This will change everything that I just mentioned, and it'll also change how the all-wheel drive system works. It'll send power to the front or send power to the back. It changes on where that power goes and how much of it and how much wheel slip. I like keeping it Sport because it's going to keep the steering just a little bit stiffer. Now, I do want to talk about steering. I know that is something kind of weird to talk about in an SUV like this, but I think Kia does a very, very good job in making it not feel numb. You do get some road feel, and I know it's not going to be an old Miata, it's not going to be a manual rack Lotus, I fully understand. But you do get that road texture. You do know when you're running over a pothole quite sharply in the steering wheel. I really, really like that. It doesn't beat you up. It is not jarring. It is, you know what's happening. That doesn't come across in a lot of modern cars with power steering, unfortunately. But I think for an SUV like this, Kia did a very good job. Now, I'm really excited to look at the K5 GT because that does have a rack-mounted power steering. Keep subscribed. I'm going to take a look at that. That should be coming up, well, sooner than later, I hope. So how does it drive? Well, if you've never driven a Sorento before, they're quite surprising. They feel like a smaller vehicle when you're driving. And I love that about the Sorento. They still maintain that characteristic in the new 21. Turning circle is insanely tight. It is really easy to park considering the size. I have sold Sorentos specifically on the turning circle, and I really like how they kept that characteristic in the new one as well. So this is the LX Premium. This will have the normal ride height. The X-Line, which I'd already did a video on, but not specifically about it, actually sold an hour later after I recorded that video. The X-Line does have a 1-inch lift. I know in the States you can get an X-Line package. In Canada, the X-Line is a specific trim. It's basically the LX Premium with the turbo engine, with the dual clutch, and then the suspension lift and the other X-Line goodies. So in conclusion, I really, really, really like the way the Sorento drives. It is fantastic. It's not a sports car. It's not meant to be. If you're hauling the kids around, if you want to use this as your ski hill rig, this does absolutely fantastically. Now, the Telluride versus Sorento. The Telluride is flat out bigger. The Telluride has a usable third row. It's also more luxurious. The Telluride is going to be your more luxury family hauler. The Sorento is more of an active vehicle. Get stuff done is definitely more utility. Kia is positioning the 21 Sorento towards the CR-V and the RAV4. So when you're doing your shopping around, make sure you compare it to those ones. The Highlander, the Pilot, that's more towards the Telluride. So talking about the LX Premium trim specifically, this is on the lower end. There is a few cut corners here and there. But for all the important bits, all of the stuff that you really actually use, all of the essentials, it has it all. And I think Kia did a very good job in choosing what features go in what trims. The LX Premium will get you all of the big ticket items at that lower price. So if you're looking in that more entry level, kind of mid-size to the smaller end SUV, I would say take a look at the 21 Sorento. I think you're going to be pretty surprised. Again, this is Jonathan of Cars Sometimes. Subscribe, take a look at Facebook, take a look at Instagram. Have a good day, everybody.